What's going on, everyone? It's Dan here, and guys, I want to welcome you all to my top 5 best games of 2023, where I run you through what I felt were the best games of this past year. Now, one thing to mention is these are my personal favorite picks of the year, and also I have to have actually played it. So if there's a game that isn't on here that you thought should be warranted or, given a spot in my top 5, if I didn't play it, doesn't count. There's no way of me really giving my blessing if I don't actually experience it myself. So that's the number one thing you have to keep in mind. Now, at the end of the video, I'm also going to throw up a honorable mention section for games that didn't quite make the top 5 or were very, very close to making the top 5. And I think you guys should check them out regardless. Obviously, this year was very, very tough for me. I had a ton of games. By like second quarter, I had enough games that I'd be like, I will put these games in my top 5. And we already had a full top 5 already by that point. So just imagine after a full year. So just because they're not in the top 5, don't sleep on them. I still highly recommend them as a game to check out. Just obviously we have to have a top 5, otherwise what's the point? So make sure you guys check them out. So thank you so much for watching this past year. I hope you guys enjoyed the countdown. Without any further ado, let's get into my top 5 best games of 2023. Coming in at number 5 on my countdown, we have Aliens Dark Descent. Now, I don't normally play RTSs on my channel, but with this one, I felt I had to make an exception, being such a huge Alien fan. Now, from start to finish, this game is completely testing you. It really puts the strategy in RTS. Now, literally, you can make a mistake early on in the game and completely suffer for it towards the end of the game that you won't even realize. Something minor could really bite you in the ass later. It's one of those games that never switches off. You have to be thinking about your next move constantly. You don't even have to be thinking about your next move, but you have to be thinking of your move 12 moves from now. It's super good in that sense. The mechanics are very, very well done, and obviously it's very addicting, but its strongest suit is the lore. Any Alien fan is going to fall in love with this game just for the sheer detail of absolutely everything, the nods to the films and books alike. It'll make you keep coming back through the punishment and want to get better and best the game, and ultimately you do. The reason it doesn't go any higher than number 5 simply is because there were a few things that did hinder it with glitches and things like that. But an absolute phenomenal game, number 5. Coming in at number 4 on the countdown, we have Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now, Fallen Order was one of my favorite games of 2019, so I knew that this game had to blow my mind. I gave it a bit high expectations, and honestly, it really didn't disappoint. Much larger play area, more planets to explore, but also bringing back that gameplay and characters that you love so very much. Obviously advancing on those mechanics, adding a few extra things here and there, new characters that are very interesting and fun to follow along with, but also giving you a much larger, almost RPG-like element to this game. So I will say it was phenomenal that they made it bigger, but it also hindered it in the sense that there was some performance issues at launch. It was such a big game that, didn't matter if you're playing on console or PC, you were having some frame issues and things like that, some stutters. It didn't matter. Ultimately, though, that is a launch issue and gets fixed over time. But based on that, because I played this at launch, I got to base it on that time frame. But still one of my favorite games of the year. I had an absolute blast with it. Ended up 100%ing it. Anything I can 100% and get all the trophies on or whatever the case is, I definitely like to push out. So that's how you know I love this game, and definitely worth your time. That's why it comes in at number 4 on the countdown. Coming in at number 3 on the countdown, we have Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Now, I know I might get some flack for putting this here, but honestly, I don't really care. The whole point of this game, the formula worked perfectly. You have your first 2 games that were amazing. The things about those games that were so good was the storytelling and, of course, the gameplay mechanics, including combat and just traversal. Those were the strongest things. You could go back to those games, not do a single mission, and just fight enemies and swing through New York City. And in this game, they made it larger by adding Brooklyn and Queens into the mix, so it made it more realistic in that sense. And the ability that you can switch between both Peter and Miles with their own abilities on the fly, I thought was really, really cool. No loading screens anymore, so everything got faster and quicker, and you can get back to the swinging, but you didn't need to fast travel, did you? You could just literally swing the whole way there because that's the fun of it. The fact that this game got hated on for the fact that it was similar to the first 2 games and the fact that it wasn't 40,000 hours long, I don't know, man. People, I think, gotta understand what they're getting. You gotta look at this and see how well they made this game. They put out something and it all worked. Like, there was not really any issue that I can think of. Yes, I would have liked to have seen a new game plus. Yes, I would have liked to see a bit more replayability in this, without the inclusion of DLC later on. I think that goes without saying, but we can't diminish the fact that this game absolutely knocked it out of the park, and I think it's really an insult to the devs for doing that. They're putting out good games, let's reward it. I think it deserves it here. Number 3 on my countdown. Coming in at number 2, my runner-up on the countdown, we have Hogwarts Legacy. Now, this game, I think we can all agree, got done dirty at the Game Awards this past year. I mean, what's not to love about this game? Just for the sheer environment alone, the lore, being sucked into this world, and how much detail is in it. You know, whether you watch the films or read the books, you feel like you're immersed in this world of witchcraft and wizardry, you know, the Harry Potter world, except you can control your own character, you know, your own wizard or witch, and be able to just use all the spells that are in the game, including the unforgivable curses, to be able to see all the different types of magical creatures and fellow students, and obviously going to class and learning new spells and things like that, and just simply exploring Hogwarts and the Hogwarts grounds were my favorite thing to do in this game. The only thing I think of, it's an open world game, and yes, Hogwarts and Hogwarts grounds, that's just a small element. You can explore completely out of the way and go into villages and towns and things like that. I feel like the game would have been better if they scaled down a little bit. I feel like the further away from Hogwarts you got, the less detail and the less, you know, excitement was there. But that was extra. And yes, man, I really, really do wish they had Quidditch in this game. That was probably my biggest gripe, obviously. But it's so addicting. There's so many hours of gameplay to be had. You can do multiple runs. There's different exclusive stories depending on what house you go into. The combinations are endless, and it's so fun and addicting. You're going to be putting in a ton of hours into this game. Obviously, those small things I mentioned were the only things keeping it from getting Game of the Year, but it's phenomenal. Do not listen to what people say. Get this game. Coming in at number 1, my Game of the Year for 2023, Dead Space Remake. Now, I know some of you might be a bit surprised at this, but let me explain. Now, Dead Space was one of my favorite games of all time. The original game, it's one of my top, for sure. And obviously the sci-fi horror genre, also one of my favorite genres across all media, whether it be video games or film or whatever. So I might be a bit biased with this one, but we have to look at what they did with Dead Space Remake. Most of the time, remakes or remasters, you know, you could really see shades of the original underneath it and be like, they've just kind of given this a fresh coat of paint. It's basically the same game. This game is not like that at all. Imagine experiencing the original Dead Space for the first time and being as in love with it as a lot of us were, playing it in a modern age, knowing what the game is like, knowing how it ends, knowing the gameplay, playing it again and making it feel like it's the first time you've ever played this game. And that's what this does. It takes the game, it's not just a fresh coat of paint. It's been completely rebuilt in the way we know it. But you would be walking through hallways and areas and you're like, I don't recognize this at all. Look, but then you see elements of, you're like, oh, this is this spot, this is this spot. So you're constantly being reintroduced to this amazing game that you fell in love with all these years ago for the first time again in a much crazier way. It's bigger and better. Everything just looks so much cleaner. They've added way more seamless elements. The loading screens are basically gone. There's areas that were added to an area that already existed. So they're expanding on levels. Boss fights were altered or improved. Some that were flops in the original that weren't as good were completely replaced with bigger and better fights. Things like that. They were all just improved in every way. Even the story, even though it remains true to the original, they added a twist on the initial twist. So while the twist existed, there was another twist that we weren't expecting that some people didn't necessarily love, but I thought it was super original and creative that I was still not expecting. And it was just like how the original got me in the first time I ever played it. I was doubling down. So I think this game is amazing. You got to give EA credit with this, and I'd love to see more stuff like this in the future. That's why it's my Game of the Year. Every time I was thinking what game to pick, my heart kept going back to Dead Space. All right, there you have it, my top 5 best games of 2023. Now, remember, these were my personal favorite games that released this past year, but there were more, as I promised, an honorable mention section. So these games right next to me are games that I would highly recommend alongside the top 5. if I was doing a top 10, obviously it'd see a top 10. I don't do those anymore, so just because they're in this honorable mentions, as I said, do not sleep on these games. They're definitely worth a look, at least when they go on sale. So go check them out. They should already be on sale as it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this list. Be sure to let me know your top 5 or what your favorite games were of this past year in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like on it. Of course, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and make sure those post notifications are turned on. That's that little bell icon, so you don't miss anything that I put out here on this channel. Be sure to follow my social pages as well. Got a Facebook, X, Instagram, Snapchat, and a Discord. Those are all linked right in the description below. Big shout out to all the sponsors of the stream, of course, DXRacer, Bones Coffee, The Ridge Wallet, Mad Rabbit Tattoo, and Jinx Custom Controllers. I use their products every single day, and you can check them out for yourselves with the links in the description. Be sure to use my promo code DanQ8000 to save at checkout with them. Also, guys, if you want to get yourself a shirt or hoodie of mine, there's a link in the description for that. Also, an embedded feature right in the description that shows a preview of some of the items you can get. But obviously, check out the full website to see the full product listing there. As well, guys, make sure you check out and sign up for the Team 8000 membership program if you haven't done so already. It does support the page a lot. There are 4 tiers with 4 different price points. Obviously, the higher up in the list you go, the better and more perks you're going to get for your money. You're going to get things like custom badges by your name, custom emojis to use in chat, exclusive video and stream access, priority in open lobbies, giveaways, discounts, and plenty more. Obviously, guys, we're working up for another milestone, so let's see how many we can get in the new year 2024. We're still plugging. Let's see what we can get done. So if you guys want to support the channel and just get some cool perks while you're here, there's the join button, link in the description. There's one right below. There's a join button right below the video, and there's also one on my main channel page as well. So be sure to check that out. I appreciate it very much. Thank you guys so much. I had a blast playing these games this past year. It was awesome having so many contenders for this top 5 title when normally it could be slim pickings, which is why I actually dropped from a top 10 to a top 5 all those years ago. There just weren't enough games that were worthy to be in a top 10 in my opinion. And honestly, a lot of these games, even the honorable mentions, would have been worthy. It's just a matter of nitpicking at that point. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we catch you in 2024 for hopefully some more great, memorable games like these. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great one. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Who's the man with the plan? If you feel trouble, wild and wild on these violent and DanQ8000. Wait a minute, hold that stylish style. Damn, goddamn Billy Jack, we still riding tires flat. I hear them sirens, see shots flying, so we driving fire back. If they ain't vibing, lie with that. Got me dressed up in all black. What up? Hood up, and I see them haters try to run with us. They gon' need inhalers. Gotta breathe them hard just like Darth Vader. Players, grab your respirators. Night invaders get lightsabered. Mask on for the shooters. Move like trash to bed intruder. Got that Glock and got them woofers. Just press play, I'll keep it moving. Who is not? Still you damn fools. Keep it fresh like canned food. There ain't nothing we can't do, so tune into that DanQ. Yeah. It was never, ever a game.